So hello guys, this is of course me, Trollface the Man, and I am accompanied here today by Ben, otherwise known as NightHawkInLight on YouTube.
Hello everyone.
Well, more appropriately, I'm accompanying him because we are over on his property doing some rather cool stuff with Firebreathing and a Vortex cannon just to see how the two interact. I'm going to post a little bit of footage on here, but for the real sweet, juicy stuff, please check out his video, which I'll be sure to put in the description below. We have some really, really amazing shots.
Yeah, we did a lot of slow motion already. We might do a little bit more tonight. I'll probably give a few of the shots over to you to use as far as the slow motion footage goes. If you want to see the rest of it, you can come over to my channel, but I'm sure this will be a great video over here, so stick around.
It's going to be a little bit on the simpler side, but we will see. I don't know if this is going to go out, but let's try.
Alright, well we got more shots than that, so stick around.
Take two.
Oh. Yeah, okay. That's a little better.
It worked the second time.
Hello guys, it is of course me, Trollface the Man, and as you've seen from the start of this video, I am doing a collab with Ben from the channel NightHawkInLight. In this video, we're going to do a project where we couple two unique concepts with one another to see how the resulting combination plays out. As a forewarning, this video here is an extras video with some thought and input by me, along with some extra insights pertaining to the recording of the video and efforts of Ben and I to get this process to actually work, along with some other miscellaneous commentary. On top of that, I will be showing some outtakes and bloopers that occurred while recording for the fun of it. Before watching this video, I highly recommend you check out Ben's video first. I will link it in the description below. I suggest right-clicking the link and hitting open a new tab for most browsers so you can keep this video to watch afterwards. Alright, let's get to it. Oh, and one last thing. Thanks a ton to Ben, as the footage you see here was almost exclusively shot by Ben using his cameras, as mine had unfortunately died and I couldn't locate the charger. Working together was fun, but we found many issues very quickly that I don't think Ben or I really expected. For example, you might think this experiment to be as easy as I breathe fire and Ben shoots the cannon and wham, the video is done. But a multitude of factors came into play that completely broke this innocent illusionary expectation. For one, the wind was bad this day and kept shifting constantly. This not only made fire breathing more hazardous, but also both the flame and the fired vortex from the cannon unpredictable. 2. The timing had to be absolutely perfect, and because there is a slight delay because of human reaction time and all, Ben had to do his best to estimate in advance when I was going to breathe and when the flame was going to peak, along with accounting for travel time of the vortex and potentially any drift. Also, if you notice while fire breathing, because the flame is best at its front, that was the target we were going for specifically, making the difficulty drastically higher. Now, I was thinking about this. I theorized that along with some other factors such as vacuum generation from the cooling air pulling inward, that most of the reason you see a big ball of fire at the head and a more pitiful neck toward the back is because oxygen had been consumed in these areas, making for an air star fire. But at the forefront, it has some fresh stuff to support a nice full flame. Briefly looking into it though, I had difficulty finding anything specifically on the topic and would be interested if anyone else knows more about it and would like to share their input in the comment section. Before moving on, there's a few random things I want to commentate on real quick. First off, I was super confused about this wet spot you see here, as it looks like pec sweat, but I really don't sweat much typically and it seems like a weird place to be. Took a while for me to realize, but this is actually water from the wet rag I had on my shoulder. As mentioned in Ben's video, I keep it to smother any flames in case they happen with my big bushy beard and all. I originally had it on my right shoulder, but switched to the left when we started recording because I figured it would look bad on camera. Oh, the irony. The other thing is, I don't recommend facial hair for fire breathing for mainly the hazards it can pose when saturated with fuel. However, something that I saw in the slow-mo made me realize another reasoning to keep it short, or at least the mustache. If you look, you can actually see my mustache hair catching the spray partially and flopping up and down. Something I would never even have thought about if not for viewing it in slow-mo. Speaking of which, I am very happy to have had this chance to work with Ben and see this all in slow-mo, as I have to say it is absolutely fascinating to me. The whole experience was very cool, and even now I find myself watching through the footage over and over, completely captivated by the sheer intrigue it rouses in me at the beauty of it all. I mean, look at that. Watching as the swells of flame roll and overtake one another, you can see the different highlights and colors as some sections are oxygen-rich and others oxygen-starved, leading to an uneven burning of fuel and a visual yet pleasant cacophony of complexity and varying luminosity. Honestly, even taking part on the video and doing the breathing myself, sometimes I look at it and think it looks too crazy to be real, almost like some type of graphical simulation like CGI. I'm sorry, I've always been a bit of a pyro, but even still, I hope those that are not can still appreciate this. One other thing I didn't even think about until watching Ben's preview for his video is some of the hues the flame gets is too possibly caused by the fire, in a way casting shadows on itself. Now, I'm not sure of the specific mechanisms of that, but I do know that the heat from the flame and even the gases produced can cause the light to deflect in different ways. One simple way to show this deflection is with a flashlight and a lighter like so. By shining the bright light at this wall and using the lighter, we can see the effect the heat and gases produced have on the light, typically through refraction or reflection. Even if I don't light the lighter, you can still see the unignited gas rather clearly. Very interesting. However, there are other things that can be done to show a more direct shadow by flame, such as using a light that utilizes a specific element to generate the output it does, then introducing the same element as part of the flame. Most commonly, this experiment can be done with a sodium lamp and sodium chloride or sodium nitrate laced wick introduced into the fire. Much deeper into the subject though is where my insight wanes and I can't really offer much more input. Still a very cool concept to think about. Anyways, during this experiment we've seen some things that were expected, such as the neat effect of the vortex ripping through the fire. But also some other things that were not so expected, such as the vortex actually appearing to deflect off the fire during some near misses. Check out Ben's video to hear his explanation as to why he thinks it happens. Another cool thing I got to see in the slow-mo footage is realizing how fine the particulate produced during the spitting process is. I never realized how effectively the mouth can atomize fuel. It's very cool to see. Now, some people might be curious as to how does it feel to fire breathe and what does it look like in my perspective. Honestly, I hear people commentate all the time as to how hot the flame is when standing to the side, but myself, I actually feel almost no heat. Theoretically, it's because almost all the heat and the flame are being pushed away from my face. And the outward force of me spraying the mineral oil along with its substance particularized in the air may help to create a vapor barrier that further insulates me. As for sight, it's honestly hard to tell what the heck is going on. All it mainly looks like is a giant flash of fire in front of me. Whenever seeing pics or videos afterwards, I always have to think, wow, I had no idea that the flame was that big or that so and so happened. Now let's talk about flashback. If you notice in the video, there are a few times the flame came back and bit or licked me, as often called. Basically, the fire went back farther than typical and touched my face or came close in some way or another. This can be caused by many things and can be extremely dangerous. For example, if I was using a more volatile fuel such as alcohol. That likely would have set my whole face alight from fuel buildup that happens while breathing. Not only that, with alcohol specifically, the flame could potentially travel back into your mouth and even down your esophagus and into your lungs and light any vapor present in them, much like alcohol vapor present in this bottle. Ouch. Probably wouldn't want that to occur. But because I'm using mineral oil instead of a more volatile fuel such as that, luckily it's actually extremely hard to light in a pooled form and easy to extinguish by smothering, along with producing really no flammable vapor like alcohol, so the risk of injury is extremely reduced. The biggest concern in my opinion with mineral oil is making sure you don't inhale the atomized particles or smoke, as this can lead to fire breathers' pneumonia, which can be potentially life-threatening. I always only inhale after I'm out of the smoke or mineral oil mist to minimize exposure. I'd like to say that the flashback in this video is occurring more commonly than normal because of a few different factors, coupling to greatly increase risk. For one, wind. The wind at my back was strong enough to create a low pressure zone by my face. This allows mist to build up and then flash ignite suddenly. Also, because I'm trying to stay in frame, I am not moving. Typically, I move back slowly away from the fire while breathing, as it's not only good to stop too much fuel from building up in front of your face, but also helps to get you out of the smoke and mist afterwards. And lastly, when it comes to main factors, it was go big or go home. Because I was fighting the wind, it was much more difficult to get a good round fireball. When it's a steady day, the fire will tend to be very full and want to float up. But because of the strong wind in my back, it was quickly pulling the fireball out and stretching it, making for a harder target. To try and compensate, I was fire breathing much more aggressively than typical, basically trying to push out as much fuel as I could and make a better target. With that though, the atomized particles mix better with oxygen closer to your mouth instead of being about a foot away by the torch like you want. This increases the chance of flashback significantly. Notice me wearing safety glasses to protect my eyes. That's really the only thing the brief contact with the flame likely could cause significant harm to. Remember, I'm also wetting my facial hair periodically to hopefully prevent it from getting burned. Lastly, before wrapping up this video, people often ask me why mineral oil. To my knowledge, I am the first person to actually fire breathe with mineral oil and document it. If others are out there, then I apologize, but when I looked about 6 years ago, I hadn't seen any. Many people use things such as kerosene, alcohol, and lamp oils to fire breathe. Some people are insane enough to use gasoline. I wanted to get into fire breathing, but I also wanted to do it safely. Cornstarch was just too meh for me. So I started scouring the web. I came across an old discussion on a fire breathers forum where an individual asked if they could use vegetable oil to fire breathe, which was my specific question too. To my disappointment, everyone there seemed to instantly write it off without even trying it. So I decided I would. As it turns out, it worked, however typically only if you heated it first. That in itself was a pain. I was thinking about alternative oils that might work better and was debating trying mineral oil. Eventually on my old video, someone suggested to give it a shot and that pushed me into doing so. I have never regretted it. It's safe to swallow, though may cause GI upset if you do. That's unlike kerosene, gasoline, isopropanol, or methanol, all of which can kill you if swallowed or used often enough to absorb in quantity through mucous membrane in your mouth. Mineral oil also has a very high flash point, meaning it's hard to light yourself on fire by accident in case of something like flashback. Once again, unlike gasoline or petrol, as otherwise known, alcohols or kerosene. It also doesn't generate vapors that can ignite in your lungs like gasoline, alcohol, and maybe kerosene. I'm not so sure on that one. The only other fuel I know about that comes close to it in safety is highly refined lamp oils fire breathers often use. But even those are just a step off of kerosene and most definitely aren't considered safe to swallow. Their flash point is typically between 150 degrees to 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 65.6 to 93.3 degrees Celsius. Mineral oil, on the other hand, like I use, is actually made to be safe to consume in small quantities, and its flash point is much higher at about 335 degrees Fahrenheit or 168.3 degrees Celsius. This makes for a much safer fuel in my opinion. The reason I think it's likely that it's not used or even tried is because it's much more expensive at about $15 a gallon and takes more finesse to use properly. Many people, especially those that are starting, are probably more likely to pick up a gallon of kerosene for a few bucks or a bottle of vodka at a party, which is sad because of the risk involved. And speaking of which, when it comes to ethanol or drinking alcohol, even just fire breathing with it can intoxicate you through absorption, which can impair judgment and increase the risk of injury significantly. Maybe in the future I can do another video a little bit more in depth about this subject. Who knows, maybe Ben would be interested in being part of that too. Only time will tell. Until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Not to forget to mention my awesome Patrons who have helped me so much with their generous contributions. Thank you guys. And for anyone else out there also wishing to help support, please check out my Patreon in the description below. We have funding goals including cutting off not only my beard, but my hair too if we can achieve them. Also, I have started granting over 100 Hall of Fame spots for those that wish to donate supplies or hardware directly, as it is too much appreciated. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and bye!
But it never blows this way, right?
Well,
That never happens. All right, let's go.
which shifts?
Wait. All right, I'm ready.
Oh, the safety squints, eh?
Yep, good to go.
You know, you kind of look like Markiplier when you had the serious squints going on. All right, ready? Torch is almost out here, and Vortex cannons, and seeing how
Grade mineral oil.
there is.
It's a laxative, I believe. So
Yeah.
So that's what if you swallow this,
Yeah.
you get the poops. That's what happens. All right, so that was very interesting. No.
I should take off my safety. Well, these aren't my safety squints. These are my regular safety glasses. Now I'll take off my safety splints.
The sound of that is awesome in person.
We lost the fire though. Also, I should note I still have my beard, which is good.
Good to go. Hi everyone, I'm back again today, and in this video we'll be firing some Vortex rings through fire-breathing fireballs. Oh man, I gotta think this through. Through the fireball.
I'm gonna be honest too, one of the times you did really good, and then I awkwardly, I didn't know you were gonna start, so I was like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Trey, among many other things, has done a lot of fire breathing on... I called you Trey?
Yeah. I can just change my name.
No, let's light this thing back up and yeah.
You sure? Because I can just change my name, you know?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Birth certificate.
That'd be good. But before we actually get to the footage that we've already filmed, but first I want to learn a little bit from Trey. Oh man, where the heck was I? Oh, okay.
Sam, I'm getting too giddy now.
I know your name.
That's all right.
My mouth doesn't know it. Okay. But before we actually get into that,
hold on a second. A mosquito just flew into my eye. Mosquito literally just bunked me in the eye.
Yeah. But before we get into the okay.
There's been a lot of that today.
Blew it out?
Yeah. I like fire. I'm at least a level 47 wizard. That's how I'm able to cast these spells.
Oh yeah, is that so?
Yeah.
Alright. I'm here today with my friend Shaye, over from the channel... Oh my gosh, Trollface the Man, okay. Shaye himself, see what... let's see. And the process and methods that he uses in the fire breathing. Oh my gosh, this is why it takes me forever to do anything. I would say this lands squarely in the do not try at home arena.
Did you try it at someone else's house?
Yeah, my house.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
perfect. We're already here.
Very nice.
Fire breathing.
Ah, that was good.